YouTubers, anybody that's watching my vids. This is me squeezing the last few rides before I have to pack it in for the winter. Nice day out today, 14 degrees Celsius. Not too windy. Appreciating the fact I'm getting to ride in November and have it this warm. Normally I do ride in November, but normally it's quite a bit colder by now. Looking at highs are usually around 6 or 7 degrees, especially within the next 2 weeks. Just leaving Kitchener, coming into Cambridge now. Well, right there is Apex Cycle. I did a test ride on a Ducati Monster back in August. That's where the rides were done out of. They also carry KTM and Victory. Riding the Ducati Monster was fun, but I don't think you could have that as a one bike only kind of bike. Not at my age. Just because I don't think I could ride it for more than 3 hours at a time. Based on this one, I've got the option of riding all day in comfort. Going to pull out there. I could see it in her eyes. Not that it would have surprised me one little bit. That's what you can expect on the roads these days. There was nobody behind me, but he had to cut right in front of me in a panic move. I've been absolutely bored last night, so I'm really happy that it's dried up today. Never know what to expect. They're telling us, it's November 3rd, they're telling us we have until Tuesday next week, November 8th, and then the weather's just going to go belly up, plunges into an early winter, supposedly, or at least much more fall-like. You can tell how long and hot a summer and fall we had, with how many trees still have leaves on them. Like coming into November, they're usually off the trees by now. They're usually plummet before Halloween. The bike seems to be enjoying its temperature. Much more so than it did 95 degrees summer we had. So 4 weeks ago, the Harley-Davidson demo truck came to town. And I was trying to make their demo days because they're only 5 blocks away from my house, so I zipped on over. Spend their gas money for the day. Got there nice and early too. I got there just after 9 o'clock and Got out for 8 rides, 7 different bikes, 8 rides. I took the Roadster out twice because it was a fun little bike. Now the Iron 883, that actually impressed me. It was more capable than I had thought it would be. In my opinion, it's about 2 inches of suspension travel away from being a really good bike. There's the Dyna Lowrider S, the U-Dyna Sport, the modern iteration of what I'm riding right now, the Dyna frame. The Dyna, I had higher hopes for the bike. I mean, it's a nice bike, rode well enough. I thought the 110 was a little rougher than the 103, and I didn't notice any real, on the ride that we did, I didn't notice any performance advantage over the 103. Disappointed the suspension was really wooden, at least the forks were wooden. So, pretty hard going over the bumps, it wasn't supple at all. Ground clearance, I don't know why they'd make an S model, which I'm assuming is for sport, and they'd keep the suspension basically slammed on it, so it has, according to the specs, it's got 28 degrees lean angle, which is 9 degrees less than this Lowrider Sport. The Roadster, that was actually surprisingly fun to ride, that bike. Very aggressive riding position for a Harley-Davidson. Very sporty feeling. The 1200 performed well enough. It was nothing to write home about below 4,000 RPM. But once you hit 4,000 RPM, it came out pretty strong. It had good acceleration. Foot pegs were a little awkward when you were at a standstill. Just because of the way they're positioned on a Harley-Davidson Sportster, and they're pretty wide pegs, they stick out quite a bit. But when you came to stop, the seat, the riding position of the bike has got a really fairly high seat for a Harley-Davidson, and it puts your legs, like for somebody my height, straight up and down, which meant that at a standstill, your feet were going right where the pegs were. Going behind the pegs was kind of awkward because you're tiptoeing, and in front of the pegs was awkward with my leg length. So you just kind of had to one in front and one behind to feel stable at a stop, or single foot it and lean it bike a bit. But a very nimble bike. It'd be a good commuter bike. Suspension was a little firm, but that's to be expected on a more sporting bike. Lack of adjustment on the forks, kind of disappointing. If you want a Sportster that gives you a more aggressive corner carving kind of ride, I'd recommend it. The seat was a little sparse. I was already wincing a little bit by the time the half-hour ride was up. I rode the Street 750, and I've ridden the Street 750 before a year and a half ago, and at that time I was pretty disappointed in the bike. I was not impressed with it whatsoever. I found it shoddily put together with cables and wires sticking out everywhere, and it stunk of gasoline, and the clutch in it was so vague. I did not enjoy the ride. It was a half hour to get me back to the dealership. Now I rode the 2017 Street 750 this time around, And it was a much improved ride over the previous time, much improved. All the wires and cables that had been hanging out before were not to be found, which is good. Didn't smell of gasoline, and the clutch had a really good feel to it. And actually, that was one of my favorite rides of the day. It was surprisingly comfortable, nice riding position. A little small. If you do 2-op, it'd be a little tight, but there were people that were right doing it 2-op. The motor performed decently enough, much better than the first one I'd ridden, which seemed to be gutless. This time around, like, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed riding it. Hello, squirrel. You're cutting me off too, are you? Seems to be the day for that. Oh. So the Road King, that was the first time I've ridden one of their touring frame bikes. And I will say this, it was exceptionally comfortable. It was also exceptionally relaxed. Like, see the appeal if you're going to cross the country and you're over 40 years old. But it was too relaxed for my liking. That's just me. And I do not expect the rest of the world to share my opinion, so that was just my impression. I didn't get it on video, but I rode the Fat Boy Sport with the 110 in it. And I've ridden, the last time I rode a Fat Boy was back in the Evolution era, and that was in 1998. And the closest I've ridden since, the only other Softail I've ridden since was a 2002 Heritage Classic Softail. So, you know, kind of like a sister bike to the Fat Boy. And with the 88B in it, I had found it to be a wonderfully smooth ride back then. And not so much this time with the Fat Boy Sport, the 110. It was by far the roughest feeling engine of the bunch, most vibration prone. Could be just that particular bike, but if I was basing bike purchase on that alone, I would not be going for a Fat Boy Sport with a 110 in it. That's another bike that has too relaxed a riding position for my personal tastes. Because before I had a Harley-Davidson, back when I had a Honda, I had thought for sure the Fat Boy was the bike of my dreams. It was the bike of my dreams. Oh, river down there. So I thought, hey, look at this road. Holy shit. So I couldn't wait to get the Fat Boy out for a test ride. It was the first time I'd ever been to a Harley-Davidson demo day. And I got on the Fat Boy and I was so excited. And I pulled away from the dealership and the motor pulled so nice and strong. And it had such lovely tall gears. And I got to the first set of corners and I was like, this is not the bike for me. Maybe I'll try a Dyna. Anyway, back to the 2017 Fat Boy Sport. Not the bike for me. Nice bike, not the bike for me. the Fat Bob. I've ridden the Fat Bob before in the past, and it handles great even for a Dyna. The only drawback to that bike for me is the big fat front tire, and actually the tires themselves. I did not like the road feel coming through those tires, and I'm not a fan of fat front tires. So, Fat Bob is a great comfortable bike. I'm not sure why that bike has 4 foot controls on it. I think it would benefit from mid controls. I've never been out this road before. This is super nice. Oh, poor dead possum. That would have been really beautiful in the sunlight. The sun's decided to hide behind some thin cloud cover. So anyway, not that I have any plans to buy another Harley-Davidson anytime soon. I do enjoy going to the demo days. You know, free barbecue food, free drinks, live music. No, that's a driveway. It's a camp. A horse riding camp. Equestrian camp. Hello. What do we got here? Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. I don't think I want to go that way. Ooh. Spin that back. The way you can tell the dead opossums from the live ones is the blood. That's some live possum shoots where we're dead, just sitting there on a fence, unmoving, forever. You know, until you don't hit the dogs out. Then they'll move, they'll lift their head, they'll hiss. It was definitely a tad warmer when the sun was out. Look at this. Curves. Oh, gravel, gravel, gravel. I love the gravel. Also love the low end torque. Screw down shop. Wow. Sort of a weird Halloween this year. In our neighborhood, even if it's a rainy night, we can usually get 100, 150 kids. And we had decent weather this Halloween. No rain. It wasn't down by 0. I think it was like +6 Celsius. You know, just over 40 Fahrenheit. And we had, at first, we had next to no kids. We had like maybe 10, maybe a dozen kids for the first hour and a half. We're like, oh God, what are we going to do with all this candy? It did pick up though. It did pick up the levels better than, well, half of what we'd normally see. Well, looks like there's no choice here. It's gravel, gravel, gravel. This is where you want an ADV bike, which I do not have. And this thing's just not much fun in the gravel. I've been there and tried that. Just a little slice of heaven in here. Look at this. Tree canopy action. Just gotta watch for deer, raccoons, and coyotes. This is beautiful in here. What happens when you take the turn you don't normally take. Okay. Canadian staple, Tim Hortons. Gotta have your Timmies. I'd hate to hit that track of speed. Oh, okay. You could have had your signal on, couldn't you? That one. about a 2-hour ride in, but I'm a little cold for doing another hour, so I'm going to meander back home. Just appreciate the fact that I did get out. Well, it's supposed to be the same. So, let's hope. Hopefully the sun stays out a bit longer tomorrow. Last curve up.